I saw the rainbow tweed on Etsy and I was like, whoa, that is the coolest thing. Honestly, hopefully we have another test call in 2 weeks. It took me like a whole day just to figure out that sleeve construction. Oh, that's a fingering weight colorwork sweater. Hello and welcome to Golden Hour Knitwear. My name is Camry and today I have a regular podcast episode for you. We're talking projects, finished objects. I even have a test call, so that's exciting. So stay tuned if you're interested in any of those. Okay, first up, I think let's just jump into the test call. This is the Hazy Stripe Sweater. I think hazy is a good way to describe it, I guess, because the stripes look hazy. Like it's marled between the main color and a contrast color. So they're hazy stripes. If you missed last week's episode, I give like the full details, I'm pretty sure, of the sweater. So you can go watch last week's episode, but I'll kind of give you a quick little rundown of all the details. So this sweater is knit out of 2 fingering weight strands held together all the way throughout. So that leaves you with holding the main color double for the main stripes, like the background stripes, I guess. And then for the 2 contrast colors, you're holding a contrast color with a main color for each of the stripes. I used 2 different colors here. You could technically do like a ton of colors. You could do however many colors you wanted. You could do just 1 color, or I guess 2 color stripes. You could do 1 color of stripes. You could do, you know, a different color for every single stripe. You know, you can get away with using your scraps. You can have a lot of fun with it. So the stripes do go all the way throughout the body, though they end right at the long split hem. I mean, it's not crazy long. You could knit it longer if you wanted. But the body ends here. Let's see. The body ends right here, and that's a little bit below my natural waist. Here's my natural waist. You can't see anything. Here's my natural waist, and here is where it ends. Maybe half an inch, quarter of an inch, half an inch, maybe a whole inch below my natural waistline, and then the split hem starts. So it's quite cropped. Though in the pattern, I think I'm having yardages and measurements and everything listed for both the cropped version and a classic length version, because I know cropped is not everybody's thing. This isn't super cropped. Like, I'm not showing any skin unless I raise my arm, then you can see a little bit on the side there. But for me, I can totally wear this, especially with high-waisted jeans. For me, I think it came out to be 17 inches long for myself. I'm 5'3". Sorry, my centimeter friends, I can't help you there. You have to look up the conversions yourself. But 17-ish inches, but that's, you know, obviously adjustable. Since the stripe repeat is so large, you know, it's all of these, right? And you want to end the stripe repeat at a decent spot before starting the hem. There's a lot of different options that you could do for that. Instead of doing like a full stripe repeat at the bottom, you could do just 1 strand of each color or 2 strands of each color. Do smaller stripes at the bottom before starting the split hem so that there's space, right? There's different things that you can do in order to get the exact length that you want. The collar is knit in one of the contrast colors. I chose to put the darkest contrast color on the bottom and then to do my collar in the same color. And then I've also bound off, and I didn't weave in my ends very tidily, but I also bound off, I did an Italian bind off, a sewn bind off for the cuffs and, well, everywhere that requires a bind off. I used the contrast color that I used for the neck to bind off both the sleeves and the hem. So I think it's a fun touch. It kind of pulls everything together, especially with that collar being a different color. So you can get all the information on sizes and stuff like that and yardages in the tester application, which I'll put a link for that in the description below. So be sure to head over there if you're interested in testing. But I'll just say right here that it's graded from bust sizes 30 to 64, I believe. So the first size is graded for bust sizes 30 to 32. And then size 9 is graded for bust sizes 62 to 64. Saying that off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure that's it, but I'll put a little sum down here if it's wrong. At the time of recording this, I still have not quite decided if I'm going to do kits for this, like I did with the Sunset Sweater test knit. So I need to decide by the time I release this episode. But if I am, all that information will be in the tester application. I'm planning on leaving the test call open for a few days. Today, the day that this comes out, is March 3rd, and I'm planning on leaving it open until March 5th or 6th, unless I get like overwhelmed with the number of people in the tester application. Or I'll leave it open longer if I need more time to get some of the other sizes filled. I'm planning on having the test run from March 6th or 7th-ish to May 17th, with a release day of May 19th. So a good 10-ish weeks, I think it might even be 10 and a half weeks of test time. So I think that's plenty of time for everybody, though I'm always flexible, especially with the larger sizes. So don't feel like you can't apply if you don't feel like you can't finish it in the 10 weeks. So if you're interested in test knitting, please just apply. Even if you're like, ooh, I don't know about 10 weeks, just go for it. Because I'm a very flexible, understanding human. All good. Okay, I think that's all the information you need for the test call. Again, that link to apply is down in the description below if you're interested. All of the information on sizes and schematics and, let's see, yardages and timelines and everything. All the information you need is in that link in the application. So if you have any questions, just go there. And if you have any further questions that aren't in the application, you can just DM me on Instagram, or you can email me at goldenhour.knitwear@gmail.com. Or you can even comment down below on this video and I'll be sure to answer. With that out of the way, let's hop into the regular podcast stuff. Before we do that though, I think I'm gonna change, because I wore this sweater for 2 weeks ago when I finished it, but I finished another sweater and I want to be able to wear that for this podcast episode. Otherwise, who knows when I'm gonna get to wear it for a podcast. So I'm gonna go change and I will be right back. Okay, so here is my finished object for this week, or just something that I happen to finish this week. So this is my hand spun sweater. This is my first sweater that I've ever knit entirely out of hand spun yarn. Well, entirely out of hand spun yarn. I do have a Sari lace in there as well, but like the whole entire sweater contains hand spun yarn, which I feel pretty cool about. Let's see, what do I want to say about this? So I've shared a lot of the information, like the details and stuff behind it in past episodes, but the rundown really quick, I guess, is I saw the rainbow tweed on Etsy and I was like, whoa, that is the coolest thing. I have to have some. And I never got some. I was just kind of scared of it. I was like, it's gonna be too much rainbow for me or something. Like that's not normally something that I go for. But then I saw someone on Instagram also spinning it up, though I think theirs was white with rainbow tweed, but she spun it up and then she plied it with a natural or bare fiber with it, so that it kind of stretched out the rainbow tweed so that you don't have just a blow up of rainbow tweed all over your sweater or whatever. And she didn't spin a whole sweater quantities worth. She had it as like a contrast color in a sweater. But long story short, I loved what she did with it. She plied it with something else. So I decided to do the same. I hopped on Etsy that day or the next day or something, and I ordered the roving, and then the rainbow tweed roving. And then I was thinking about what to ply with it. And I was like, well, if I'm plying it with something, I can get fancy with fiber content. And so I went with alpaca. I decided to get some alpaca because alpaca is nice and drapey, and it's also very soft, right? So that's what I did. I ordered some alpaca. I couldn't find any gray alpaca for a decent price, and so I went with white. I was a little worried about how it would look, and so I thought maybe if I didn't like it, I could just dye it gray or something so that it'd match more and not be like the barber pole effect. But I actually really like the way it turned out. So let's see. I have a lot of yarn left over. I didn't think I was gonna have any left over because I have not a lot. But anyway, here's what the yarn looks like. So, right, it's the barber pole effect. You've got, I've got white plied with gray. And so it's kind of marled when you knit it up. So in order to kind of blend things together a little bit and to stretch out my yardage, because I only had I had under 800 yards altogether, I think. I know I had less than 800 yards and it scared me. So I don't know why it scared me, because I can get a fingering weight sweater out of 800-ish yards. I should be able to get a DK weight sweater out of 800-ish yards. So Anyways, I dyed up some Sari to stretch out my yardage just to be sure that I wouldn't run out, because I can't find this alpaca anywhere, so I can't necessarily recreate the yarn. It was just gonna be a big hassle to track down the same exact fibers and then spin it up and then, you know. Anyways, so I dyed up some Sari lace to hold with it, and this is a light gray, basically the middle of the dark gray in this and the white in this, so that it's kind of blending things together a little bit, right? And here's what we come up with. So this is my swatch. The gauge is like 16 inches by 16 inches. It's pretty big, and it knits up so fast. I knit the whole yoke plus a few inches in, minus the collar, in like within 24 hours, not knitting crazy fast. It took me a few hours total. And then I saved the rest of the project for a trip. My husband and I went on a trip last week. In the last 2 weeks, we went on a trip. And it was actually to celebrate our 5th anniversary, which is at the end of March. But my husband is in school right now, so his spring break was in the last 2 weeks, and that's when we went on our trip. It's also the first trip we went on without our daughter. So we left our daughter at my in-laws, and we left the dog with a family friend. And so it was just my husband and I, and we had zero responsibility for like 5 whole days, and it was so nice. So anyway, I saved this project for that trip. I wanted to have something that was gonna be a quick, easy, fun knit that would just be satisfying, just so that I could have something that reminded me of the trip and something that was just easy and I could finish on the trip and just feel good, like that I accomplished something even though we had zero responsibility on the trip. So anyways, this is what I did. I finished it on the trip. I finished this up super fast. I actually finished knitting the body on the drive, I think. It was like a 3.5, 4 hour drive. So I finished it up pretty fast and then took my time on the sleeves so I could do other projects and stuff. But it was a lot of fun. Here's the final thing. I love how it turned out. Part of me sometimes looks at it and I'm like, is that too much for me? But then like I look in the mirror or I look in the camera or like at pictures or videos or something, and it looks a lot less busy from a distance. Maybe it's because I don't have my glasses on than when I look straight down at it. So I think I love it, but at the same time, sometimes I'm like, whoa, that's a lot. So yes, here it is. I couldn't find a drop shoulder pattern that met this same gauge, and I liked the fabric, and I was just like, I'll just self-draft it. I don't want to dig in the depths of Ravelry for hours and hours just to find a pattern. So I just self-drafted it. It was the easiest thing I've ever self-drafted. It just went, and it was really nice. So really happy about the fit and like the shape of it overall. So I do have a ton of yarn left. This did not use very much yarn at all. This is about a DK-ish, sometimes worsted-ish weight yarn. And it used less than, let's see, 2, 4, 6, it probably used around 600 yards. And for my size, and I have a 32-inch bust, and it probably has a good 6 inches of positive ease, maybe. So pretty decent. My Sari base has 459 yards, and I barely got into this one to finish up the sleeve. So I guess that means I may have only used 400, maybe 500 yards. I don't know. Not a whole lot. So that's kind of fun to have a pattern that I can use for DK-ish, worsted-ish weight yarn that only takes, 500 to 600 yards, which is really nice. Okay, on to whips. And honestly, hopefully we have another test call in 2 weeks because this is going really well and I'm excited about it. So, and it's a little messy. I need to block it, which will clean some things up, and I need to tighten some things up on the inside, and I need to re-seam some things just to make it cleaner. And I also want to redo my I-cord, but look at this. So this is a t-shirt. I'm holding 2 strands here because it's I like the base a lot. It's a 50% superwash merino, fine superwash merino, so it's super soft, and 50% Pima cotton. So it's very nice. So here we have it. It's just a t-shirt. I love it. It's very open gauge, so DK weight, very loose open gauge, and the construction is very unique. I kind of made it up as I went. My sister-in-law has a sweater just like this, and I love it. So I was like, I'm gonna knit a sweater just like that someday. So I was considering in my brain how I would knit it, and I've been sitting on it for the last several months, like, how would I make that work? How would I make that work? And here we are, summer is coming up, spring is coming up, and so I knit a t-shirt instead. And then in the fall or winter, I'll probably do a sweater. But here we are so far. So the construction is very interesting. It's not a raglan or a drop shoulder. I don't think it's technically even an inset sleeve, though I've never done an inset sleeve before. I don't think. So I don't know what this would fall under. I think closest thing would be an inset sleeve, maybe. I don't know. But basically you knit it as if it were a drop shoulder, except for it goes to your shoulder point. So it's, you know, the front panels end at your shoulder point. And then we've got this fun, I mean, it looks a little messy right now. It will look much better than this once I blocked it and reworked a few things. But this is the basic idea of the sleeve. So it's like a right angle right here at the underarm. And we've got stripes going this way and stripes going this way. I know it's tough to see what I'm doing with just my pinky there, but and then I've even managed to get some short rows in here without messing up the stripes so that the fit is nice and not really wonky. I had an idea to make it work so that there was no seaming whatsoever, but it wasn't working so well with the gauge, and it was just clunky and not super neat and tidy. So you pick up stitches here and you start knitting, and then once you get to the right length, then we just seam here and here. And then you pick up a few more stitches at the underarm before you join in the round. So it's not like a super cookie cutter boxy fit. It actually fits really well. I'm really happy with the way it fits. And you've got the interesting horizontal stripes on vertical stripes and that sort of right angle in the underarm there. So I'm really happy with this. It took me like a whole day just to figure out that sleeve construction, just because I was trying so hard to make it completely seamless, where you're just picking up stitches. You don't have to seam anything at the end. But honestly, having to seam 2 inches on either side on either arm is not that big of a deal. So I'm really happy with it. And it's much cleaner looking this way than if I were to pick up stitches all the way through. So anyways, there is a little bit of sleeve shaping, like I've decreased a few stitches on the sleeve, and we've got a folded hem on the sleeve, which I really love. It's in this main color here. And then for the neckline, we've got a nice, fairly open, rounded neckline. It's not like super large, it's not super tight or anything, just a nice tee. I don't love this I-cord, it's messy. I might stick with an I-cord, but just redo it so that it's nicer. But I also might play around with just doing like a regular collar that you would do on a sweater, but instead of ribbing, just do knitting on a smaller needle, fold it double, tie or sew it down. I might try that. I might try some double knitting. I don't know for sure what I'm thinking, but here we are. This is a t-shirt design that I hopefully will have a test call for in 2 weeks, so stay tuned. But this is going to be called the Elise Tee, as, again, it's inspired by one of my sister-in-law's sweaters. My sister-in-law's name is Elise, so she gets a sweater, or a t-shirt named after her, the Elise Tee. I love yellow, and so I'm happy with this. I'm excited to wear it. It's knitting up super, super fast. Once you've got the sleeve figured out, it goes really, really easily. But I'm definitely going to knit another one and do a tutorial for this one so that it's more doable, since it's kind of funky and not a construction that you use every day or see every day. So I did dye the yarn for this, and I am planning on doing kits when the pattern comes out, and I am planning on doing kits for testers, do some discounted kits for testers to say thank you and stuff like that. So as long as I can get it into testing for next week. This is gonna be my priority for the next 2 weeks, and that should be no problem. So anyways, here we are. Isn't that so cool? Seeing it from a distance, it's just like, wow, that's a t-shirt. But I'm really happy with it. And it's gonna be, it's like, look, it's nice and drapey, and it's gonna be so cozy. It's so soft. I think I'm gonna wear this all the time this summer. Once it's finished, I'm gonna wear it a ton. I think I'm gonna be able to get this whole thing out of 200 grams of yarn as well. I've got a decent length on the body here. I don't think I've tried this on since adding a few inches to the body, but I think I'll be able to finish the body soon. And then the sleeve like does not take very much yarn. That's a pretty short sleeve, even though it comes to like here. But hopefully I'll be able to finish with just this yarn. If not, hopefully I'll be able to finish with just this yellow yarn because I don't think I wrote down the recipe. I don't know if I can get this exact yellow color, but we'll see. So yeah, that's the Elise Tee. I'm very excited about it. I hope you like it because it's coming soon. I have swatched, I haven't cast it on yet. I have swatched for, I'm going to say it totally wrong, the Pohjola Sweater by Sari Nordlund. There is a knit-along going on right now between Sari Nordlund and Casey over at Young Folk Knits. And I'm so excited because it's a beautiful sweater and it's with Sonder Yarn Co., their BFL Mash and Base. And I've been dying to try this yarn and I love yellow and I love the design and it's a knit-along and so I went for it. And it's, I mean, I only knit a 2-inch long or tall swatch. So I mean, I sat down and I was like, I'm gonna knit a full swatch and I'm gonna really, really take my time with this project. But as I got knitting, I was like, ooh, I don't know if this gauge is right. I don't know if it's gonna turn out really, really very well. I got to 2 inches and I was like, okay, I have to block it, I have to block it. So I bound off and I blocked it and the yarn bloomed so well. And it filled in the space so well. It's so squishy. This is a fingering weight yarn. I didn't realize that until it got here. I was like, oh, that's a fingering weight colorwork sweater. I thought that was DK weight for some reason. But regardless, I'm very excited. And I can't wait to cast it on. I'll probably cast it on this weekend or something like that. I am slightly concerned that the brown is too close to the gray. So here's the skein in all of its glory with the tag and everything. And then I've wound up the rest of them so far. So I am worried that these two contrast colors are too similar to each other. I honestly might take this beige one and wind it back up into a hank and dye it slightly darker. Just a tiny, tiny bit darker beige. Just because it's very, very similar. It's very, very, very low contrast. And from my end of things, I can actually see the difference in the swatch from the camera, but I don't know for sure. To my eyeball, I don't see much of a difference. Up close maybe, but far away, it's pretty similar. So I might dye it a tiny bit darker just to help out a little bit. It is pretty low contrast in Sari's sample on the Ravelry page. On the pattern, it's very low contrast, but I think it's a little bit more high contrast than that. So I don't know. I haven't fully decided yet, but I'll cast on and then we'll see. That color isn't used a whole lot. So I guess I could dye maybe 50 grams of it instead of the whole thing. I could just dye, you know, half of it and keep the other half the same, just in case I'm terrified, in case it goes wrong or something like that. But yeah, that's what I'm considering. Here's my swatch. I love it. No surprise there. It's one of my favorite fibers. It's a beautiful, beautiful yarn, beautiful color. I'm excited. This one will also probably get worked on a little bit slower, though it is a fingering weight sweater, so I can probably wear it for a little bit longer than like my Seaview sweater, which is worsted weight plus a Sari. That one's extremely warm, whereas this one I think I can wear for a bit longer. And I love it, and I'm excited about it, so it'll probably get worked on a little bit faster than my Seaview, but not as fast as like my summer knitting, spring knitting, especially designs that I want to get out and testing ASAP. So yeah, I'm super excited. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, I think I showed you, I haven't worked on this in a little bit and I don't know why because I love it. I think I showed you like the first inch or half inch of this knit up, but this is my sock on the needles. I haven't put up, I think I maybe added the stripes since our last episode and then started part of the leg. I don't think I've touched it in the last maybe week, but look at it. I love it. This yarn is so good. This yarn is I think it's called Love Letter is the colorway by Casual Fashion Queen. I absolutely love her. She makes gorgeous, gorgeous yarn, and she's got the magic touch with, I almost said sprinkles, with speckles. She's got the magic touch because look how good it is. I'll show you again. So good. It's so good. I absolutely love it. And then the contrast color is just some yarn that I have dyed in my own stash. It's just, it's actually the burnt orange colorway from the Sunset Sweater collection, the Sunset Sweater kit, whatever. Though I think it came out more orange. I think it's slightly off. I think the colors work together really, really well. My husband wasn't convinced until I started knitting it up, but now he likes it. Not that it matters if he likes it or not. I love it. I think it really lends to the love letter name really well, because when I imagine a love letter, sometimes I imagine like old yellowed paper, like parchment paper, just old timesies, like a princess writing a love letter to a prince or whatever like that. But anyways, so this color kind of reminds me of that. And then it's just, you know, the speckles. I just love it. I love it. I'm just following a vanilla sock numbers, and then actually, no, I think I cast on 60 stitches instead, because my foot is in between like the average foot size for small and medium, and so instead of casting on the usual like 56 or 64, I think I cast on 60, and I've done that before and I liked the fit of it. That sock, I think I did a German short row heel because it was self-striping. And so the heel still didn't fit super well, but I'm trying it again on this, and this is ribbed all the way through. So I think it's gonna be really, really good. It's gonna fit really, really well. And I'll do a regular heel flap and gusset and stuff like that. So I think it'll be perfect. Okay, so I love these. I haven't worked on them in a little bit. Socks usually go pretty slowly for me because they're kind of just my car knitting. They're still very necessary, and I love these socks, but I usually only work on them in the car, and I haven't been in the car much since our trip. This is my Seaview sweater. I haven't spent much time on this since the end of the test. It's mostly just the sleeve and the body done. This is just what was required for the test, and I got there. I just haven't put much time into it since then. So, because we went on a trip, and I was excited to try new shiny things. New shiny projects. Not that they're shiny, but just new fun things. So yeah, not a whole lot of progress on this, though I'm in love with the pattern, and I'm excited to finish it because it's so soft and cozy and squishy, but spring is coming. Like, the birds are chirping. It's not sunny today. It's pretty gloomy today, but point is, I probably won't be able to wear this for, you know, another half a year or something. And so I'm not like super motivated to work on it. My brain is kind of in the depths of like spring and summer planning and knitting right now. So that one's on the slower end of things, but that's totally okay. Okay, so I showed you this last time. Actually, there's really nothing to show you. I'll just show you the swatch. So remember, I was going to knit like a summer sweater with this, and I cast it on and I finished the back panel. It was gonna be drop shoulder. And then 2 weeks ago on the last podcast episode, I showed you the panel, told you I wasn't loving it. I was going to say I wasn't digging it. I don't know where that's coming from. But I told you I wasn't loving it, and I was just going to rip it out, and I was going to do a raglan instead. And then I got more ideas, and I liked it even more, and I liked the idea even more. And then I sat on it for a week, and I was like, maybe I don't like it. and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, well, it's getting kind of late to have like a spring design come out. Do I really want a summer sweater? Do I really want to knit one? Is that really what I want? Do I actually love it? Do I really want to do it? And long story short, if I'm struggling to like cast on a design or an idea this much, then it's probably not worth knitting up and turning the idea into an actual thing. It might come back someday, but for right now, I've decided I'm not gonna worry about it. I almost changed it into a tank top and knit it as a tank top, but I started swatching it last night and I just wasn't feeling it. I love the design or the lace motif. I just can't figure out how exactly I want to incorporate it into the idea that's in my brain. I don't know how to put one and one together, if that makes sense. So And then I came up with another idea for the yarn that I'm even more excited about. So that kind of solidified things in my brain. We're just gonna move on from that and call it a dud. We're gonna call it a dud for now. So don't expect to see any progress on that. That one's, we're calling it quits. And I'm okay with that. I'm happy with that. It might come back in the future, but I have more exciting things planned right now, so I'm not sad about it. It's all good. Okay, on our trip, I also brought my e-spinner, and here's the thing. I was planning on my next sweater spin to be the fiber that I want to use for my Agnete cardigan, because I want to spin up yarn for the Agnete cardigan and then knit the Agnete cardigan by Petite Knit. And the plan was to use this dark brown merino. But then I saw somebody's Agnete cardigan on Instagram, and it was gorgeous. And theirs was like a brown gray, like a heathered gray brown yarn. And it looked so good. And that's what I want. That's like my ideal Agnete cardigan, is a heathered gray brown. Like, you can't tell if it's brown, you can't tell if it's gray. It's just honestly straight in the middle. And I loved it. And I was like, I want that. I want my Agnete cardigan to look just like that. And this was like the day before our trip. And I was like, but wait, I have fiber like that. I have a ton of it. And I have enough to make the Agnete cardigan in this brown gray. And it would be perfect. And so I packed this on our trip. And so that's what I started spinning. But when I went to go spin it on our trip, I was like, wait, actually, I think I don't know if I really want to use this for the Agnete cardigan, because it's going to be hard to get a mohair or a sari to match it, because it's so, like, is it gray? Is it brown? It's very heathered, and it's beautiful on its own. I don't know if I want to hide that beauty by holding a mohair or a sari with it, right? I thought I had my... This is Jacob wool, by the way. Oh, there it is. So I spun up a tiny little sample at the cabin on our trip. Oh boy. I packed this really, really, really well. So I spun up a tiny little sample while we were on our trip, just so I could decide for sure if it's what I wanted to do. And I love it. It's got beautiful heathering and just beautiful color. I love it so much. And again, I don't know if I want to hide that by holding a mohair or a sari with it. And I definitely want to knit the Agnete cardigan with a mohair or sari, just because, like, I love the look of brioche knitting. Brioche is, how do I say that? But I don't love it a ton when it's in yarn that has really, really great stitch definition. So I really want that fuzz there. And this is quite fuzzy, so maybe I can get away with just holding the single. But I think a fingering weight plus a mohair, so sport-ish weight, would be much better drape than like a full DK weight yarn. And so I decided to use this for something else, especially because I have so much of it. I want to use this for a thicker yarn. I'm still second guessing myself. So I started spinning it, and this is still on my spinner slightly. So, but here it is. I've got, this is just how I packed it to come home. And I love the way it's spinning up. I think right now I'm spinning it into a DK-ish weight single, so that I get a worsted / Aran weight yarn when it's plied together. Though part of me is like, wait, but what if I just hold it by itself and knit the Agnete cardigan just like this with no mohair? Swatch and see what happens. And I might do that. We'll see. Because I think it's beautiful. I love the color of it. And so it needs to go to something special. But at the same time, I'm just overthinking everything. That's all. I'm just overthinking it all. But anyways, there it is. I started it. I don't have a lot done, but it's enjoyable. There is a lot of vegetable matter in there, and I thought I was going to be totally fine with it, but there's quite a bit more than I thought. I've spun quite a bit into the yarn, so it's a little obnoxious, but it's nothing that I can't take care of. You know, I'm just picking it out as I spin. It makes for a little bit slower of a spin and makes for quite a messy tabletop right underneath where I'm, you know, drafting. But it's okay. I love it. It's beautiful, beautiful fiber regardless. So I'm very happy with it. So anyways, there it is. I don't know. Just let me know if you've knit the Agnique cardigan without a sari, or just without a mohair or sari, because I can still change my mind at this point. So let me know what you think. Okay, I don't have any like knitting acquisitions, but I have a little tease for you. So on our trip, we went to, there's quite a large flea market, like antique thrift store, antique mall slash flea market, where we went. And so we went and checked it out, and it was really big. There was a ton of little booths, I say loosely, with a ton of stuff. And it was fun to just kind of wander through. I don't think we even saw half of it, but we were just kind of looking through. We got some raspberry jam because I love raspberry jam, and some pickles. And then, and then we went, which are also tasty. And then we were looking around just for fun, and I was like, wait, this is a great place to get a little teacup for a little project I have coming up. So I'm gonna show you the teacup because it's super cute. So here's this little teacup. Look how cute it is. Now, I'm not like a tea drinker, but this is for a project. And I'm totally teasing something, but I have a collection coming up. I'm hoping to start releasing colorways at the end of the month, but I'm so excited about it, and I just can't wait. And so I'm looking at little things to like stage the yarn for photos and stuff, and the teacup I think is perfect to hold with it. I've teased it a little bit on my stories on Instagram, so I think a few of you might know kind of what's going on, but just know I'm happy about it. I'm excited about it. I can't wait, and that little teacup is perfect. So that's my little acquisition for this week. Just something to go along with a collection to have with the yarn in photos. I'm excited to start taking photos of all the yarn because I'm gonna have a cool little setup for photos. I'm excited. So it's actually funny because in the last video that I uploaded, I said that I don't really love doing collections. I don't want to do a lot of collections. And here we are, I'm doing a collection. But this one I'm like so excited about. It's inspired by one of my absolute favorite two of my favorite movies, and I'm so excited. I'm also collaborating with somebody on it, and it's gonna be so good. But yeah, that's all I'm gonna give you right now. Okay, that's all for today. It was a lot of fun. I feel like there wasn't a lot, but it was also a lot at the same time. Just a lot of different things going on. But I hope you enjoyed today. If you're still here, thank you for watching through all of the things going on. Don't forget, if you're interested in the test call, to click the link in the description. There's a Google form for you to fill out if you'd like to apply to test. Keep your eyes open in the future for more test calls because I've got one coming soon, and then another one coming soon for the Elise Tee, and then keep your eyes open for that collection that I just teased. I'm not usually a teaser like that, but I just had to because I'm excited about it and the teacup. It's a cute little teacup. So yes, thanks again for watching. Thank you for being here. If you liked today's episode, don't forget to hit the like button. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so that you can see more from me and not miss out on any future test calls or collections or any regular videos or whatever you want to participate in over here at Golden Hour Knitwear. And if you're absolutely into everything that we talked about today, don't forget to hit the notification bell. It ensures that you see my videos more often in the future so you don't miss anything. And it also helps me out, helps push out my videos to more people like you who would enjoy them as well. Helps me find more fiber friends, so we love that. Thank you again for watching. I think I'll see you next week with a spring knitting plans video. But until then, happy knitting. Bye.